Labubus. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but one thing's for certain, they are taking over the world. This is so cringy. And yet, they're also extremely difficult to get. I thought I'd done it once. It's blue. It's fake. What is wrong with it? It's got 2 right hands. There's a stitching. There's loose stitches. The head's about to come off. Don't worry, I got my money back. It's all good. Now, one of the reasons these little freaks are so hard to get is because of how insanely popular they are. But the biggest reason is that people have started collecting them and growing their own personal armies. I don't want to collect them. I just want one perfect little soldier. And if I can't get one, then I'll just have to make my own. So, that's what I'll be attempting in today's video. I found someone online who had very kindly uploaded a pattern and instructions on how to make one based off of a lafufu that they took apart and traced. So that is what I will be using to make one in today's video. I started by upscaling the proportions because I wanted mine to be a bit bigger. I also got some fabric, scrappy white t-shirt and some teddy bear cushion. To start, I am cutting out the template pieces, as you can see here, and once that is done, because I am not used to making dolls, I wanted to make a prototype one first, so I'm using the jersey t-shirt. I have seam ripped and pulled it all apart, so it's just this blank piece of fabric, and I am tracing each of the template pieces with this Tombow pen. I'm not fussed if the pen is too dark or if it's going to bleed through or anything, because like I said, this is a prototype to help me get my mind around how any of this works. I have sewn little toys in the past, but never using a template or instructions or anything. I've made it up off the top of my head and they have not worked out that well. I ended up giving it to my dogs as a toy for them. I am glad that I did the prototype first because, as you will see, I make a few mistakes. For example, I for some reason copied out two pieces of one of the templates that only needed to be done once. It's one of the head pieces. You will see when I get to it what an issue that is. I was a bit lazy with adding the seam allowance guideline. I was aware that it needed seam allowance, but again, because I was lazy, I was like, I'll just do that mentally. Not a good idea. I did line it on one of them, on the ear here that you can see I am starting with now, and I just thread up my needle and I get started on this ear. I'm not using any special technique or anything. I don't know terminology when it comes to sewing, so I don't know what the name of this sewing is called, this stitch. It's just a very basic stitch. And I did that around the whole ear, leaving the bottom blank so that I could turn it inside out later. And at this point, I was really nervous because this ear took me 30 minutes to sew. I wasn't sure if this was how long it was going to take for everything, or if this is just because I was new to sewing, but it really disheartened me because I was hand sewing everything for this project. Don't know why this took 30 minutes though, because the next one I did in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, after this one I was thinking, how the hell am I gonna sew an entire labubu? I'm not getting an entire sewing machine for this. I don't do enough sewing for that. And honestly, I don't even think it would work for something like this now that I have made this video, so I think hand sewing it is the only way to go. But the 30 minutes scared me, so I wanted to try. I got this mini hand sewing machine, as you can see in the video. I thought, this is small, this might work for a project like this. So I gave it a go and immediately it did not work. I don't know if there's something wrong with the machine itself, if it's to do with the fabric, if it's me doing something wrong, but the fabric kept getting caught on these tiny sharp bits, the grooves that are supposed to help pull your fabric through. It instead kept getting caught and it would just stretch it so it wouldn't sew, and I realised I'm gonna have to hand sew the whole thing, which ends up being fine. I get pretty good at it and I get pretty fast at it, but yeah, like I said, at this point I was feeling pretty defeated. I wondered if I was even gonna do the project at all, but I pushed through and this ear only took 10 minutes and I was just surprised and I realized I could do it. I can make this toy. So I kept going. I was following the instructions that the person had very kindly written up. I'm not sure if it's because I'm not used to following sewing instructions, but this was tricky. There were things in the instructions that just didn't make sense to me, and looking back, I just don't really know why things were said the way they were or why things were done in a certain order. There were points where it had me like jumping all over the place from working to the body and then stopping and working on the head. Because as you can see, after finishing the ears, I am now sewing the body together, whereas I thought I would be working on the head next. But doesn't matter, I was following it, getting very confused but trusting the process. So with projects like this, with a lot of things like this actually, you want to sew things inside out so that when you fold them the right way, it has this nice neat seam and you don't see the threads, and it just makes everything look a lot nicer. Now I am moving on to the head for some reason, even though I haven't finished doing the body, but I'm following the instructions. This is where I'm sewing the ears onto the front head piece. That's what this half circle looking shape is. It is the front of the head. It will line where the face goes. I, for some reason, cut 2 of these. I don't know why. My brain just read it as you need 2 of them. So after I connect the ears to the first piece, I then lay the second one over it again, which makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense, because I was thinking, oh yeah, it's just going to make the head bigger, and once I attach the back of the head pieces, it will make a perfect circle, you know? And it's because I just don't understand sewing. It will make sense. It doesn't. I waste so much time doing this. Oh, it's so frustrating to watch. It will end up fine. It's just going to be a bit messy. So here you could see me laying the actual back of the head pieces and realizing the mistake I had made. I attempted to undo the stitching for the second piece, but I was just really struggling to pick it. So I just decided to layer the back pieces over it. It would still work, it just means that once I turn it the right side out, there's going to be an extra piece of fabric that you will see. This is a slightly different video than usual. I hope you enjoy it. I don't usually make like 3D projects like this. I don't know what you'd call this kind of thing. This is a more hands-on, arty crafty video. I've been struggling with the idea of Labubu's for a while. I think they're adorable. They have like this creepy cute thing going on, and I know people are probably sick of Labubu's by now. I am a little, honestly, because of how frustrated it's all made me. Yeah, I've still always had this like upset in the back of my mind that I just want one. I don't want to collect them. I just wanted to own one because they are cute. My consumerism, I guess, was showing. I gave up and decided to just make my own. I'm really glad I did, because it means, well, it means that this thing that I end up with at the end has more personal meaning to me, because I made it, which is really, really cool to think about. But also, I get to personalize it. That's what I do in this video for the ones that I make. You will see it later when I get down to actually designing them a bit more. It's really cool because they are my own unique personal creatures. Now that you've seen me sew the body and the head, it is time to attach them. This was confusing. The instructions, I could not understand them, and I messed up a lot. I had to unpick a lot. I could not for the life of me figure out how to do it until I did. I know how to do it now, but I have no idea how to explain it. It helped me when I thought about how when I turn it inside out, I don't want the seam, again, connecting the head to the body to be on show. And I managed to make it work, although I do think I did it slightly wrong. This is something that practicing helps with, and another reason why I'm glad I made a prototype. I think I did the chin wrong. I didn't leave enough space. I sewed the chin into the neck, which is wrong. It removes his chin. So after stuffing him, I was happy with how he looked, though he looked a bit like a freak. So I got out my proper fabric for my final one. So it is time to do everything all over again, but this time correctly, and I'm including the seam allowance marks, so it all goes a lot quicker and a lot smoother, but it's also a lot messier, because as you can see, the fabric I'm using, it's this teddy bear fabric. I mentioned it earlier in the video. I found it really hard to find this fabric because I really wanted it to match the fabric for the, I can't remember what they're called, like the tasty macaron labubus. I think this is actually the wrong fabric now that I properly look at it. But I really like this teddy bear fabric. I think it's also called like faux sheep wool or something, I'm not sure. But I've always known it as teddy bear fabric. That's what we used to call it where I used to work. I found it really hard to actually find like proper sheets of this fabric at an affordable price in shops and online or anywhere. So what I ended up doing was I was out shopping one day in Primark and there was this cushion and it was perfect. And it was so cheap, it was like £6 or something for a decent amount of fabric, and that's what I've used. I seam ripped the cushion and now I have a really nice amount of this fabric. I can make 4 decent sized labubus from it, so it is well worth it in my opinion. But the little pieces, when you chop up the fabric, they get everywhere. They are a mess, a nuisance. You can just see on my desk the little fine hairs of it everywhere. I didn't mention, but I added some felt for the ears as well to try and make it look like the, you know, what labubu ears look like. So unlike with the prototype, I did the entire head first. It just felt more natural to me, it flowed better, and then I moved on to the body. This was all feeling a lot better. Everything's going quicker, it's going smoother, and that's why I'm really glad that I did the prototype first, because it would have really sucked if I had made any mistakes with this fabric and wasted it. Whereas this way now I have a general idea of how everything's meant to work. So everything came out looking just a little better, I think. I did, however, make one mistake, and that is again with the chin area. So I had to just sew that up. There was just this big gap where I hadn't attached the chin properly. And after stuffing it with the actual contents from the pillow that I seam ripped, so that's actually like 2 for 1, you know, I was just admiring how cute they both looked. So now I just wanted to get another idea of the faces that I wanted to do. I was sketching some ideas here because I hadn't fully landed on what I wanted to do for them, because I wanted it to be very me. I wanted it to be in my style but similar to a labubu. So that's what I'm doing here, just sketching a couple faces, and I end up liking all of them. They're slightly different but similar enough, I don't know, but I really like how they all look. But I end up going with the very first one because I really like the chompy teeth. I think he looks really cute and like a little monster creature. So for this, I am going to sculpt his hands, feet and face with Super Sculpey, but I wanted a template for the face plate, so I am just sketching that out here and making adjustments. I'm still not sure if the face plates that I end up with are too big or not. I like how they look in the end, but I don't know. They might be a little big, but I like it still. So here are just the items that I'll be using for sculpting. So I have this Super Sculpey that has been open for quite a while. You have to warm up and, you know, squish the Sculpey to get it moldable and soft, but it's a lot worse for this because of how long it's been open. It's gotten pretty hard, so I was struggling quite a bit, but I do get there eventually, and I roll it thin enough and I cut out the faceplate, and I'm feeling pretty good at this point. That won't be for long. I haven't sculpted anything in quite a while, so I was really looking forward to this because I really enjoy sculpting and I've sculpted things in the past, but because I haven't done anything in a while, nothing felt like it was turning out quite how I wanted. I then also had the issue of my nails were too long, so I had to cut them off. I was trying to kind of give a similar face to the Labubu's. I wanted him to have puffy cheeks and eyebrows. It just kept going wrong, and multiple times it ended up looking like that skin freak guy from Soul Eater, which I did not like. Like, look at this. This is terrifying. This is gross. So after a lot of trial and error, which thankfully I can do with this stuff because it's just squishy, you can remold it, I realized that less 3D detail is better. Just make it flatter, add the details on top. But I did make the mistake that I didn't put any like protective plastic down to help get the face off of my rolling board. So it did get a little stuck, but it ends up being alright. And I made this little foil frame to try and help mold it into a more rounded shape. So I am now using some foil to help me get an idea of how thick and how big I want the arms or the hands and feet to be. Using foil also is really helpful because it means I don't have to use as much Sculpey. It helps give me a firm frame to work on. It's just incredibly helpful. So I started with the hands, and I decided to go with only giving him 3 fingers and 1 thumb because it was easier to sculpt, but I also think it adds to the cuteness of this little guy. He's got these chubby little 3 fingers, and they were really tricky to sculpt. The first one with both the hands and the feet was always the easiest, and I was really happy with how they turned out, but it's always doing the second one that is the hardest. Trying to match the first one is so tricky because I'm like, how the hell did I make the first one? How did it end up looking decent that I really liked it, and now I'm struggling? But they end up looking okay because I tried to push my perfectionism aside. So they look a little funky, but they're also fine. And I ended by brushing some acetone on them to try and just smooth out any imperfections. This is incredibly helpful. I never used to use it in my sculpture things, and now I love it. It's not a cure-all, but it does help smooth things out. So now that the sculpting is complete, it is time to send this guy on a journey to the fiery pits of hell. But I sent him too far. He was gone too long. I burnt him. I burnt him so bad. I got the timing wrong for how long I should leave him in the oven. He's fine. He's just crispy. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing wrong with him being this cooked. His feet did chip a little bit around the foil, but other than that, he's fine. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. But it is now time to cover up our mistakes with paint and screaming. It's time to paint him, and I'm just mixing up a pale skin colour for him, except I forgot that I wanted to give him a base of white first. This is mostly to cover up the burns, but it also just helps, I think, putting colour on top of a white base regardless of if he'd burnt or not. Although I guess I actually wouldn't have had to if he'd stayed his normal colour. But yeah, so I did that first. I added white to all of his little pieces, and then I went ahead and mixed up his skin colour on this super clean paint palette that's not got old paint on it at all. And I went and gave him a couple layers of that, which was pretty messy. It was a little annoying. Then I went and added some blush while the base layer was still a bit wet, so I could blend it in a little bit. I just wanted to give him some rosy cheeks and some colour on the tips of his fingers and toes. I just really like how it looks. I think it makes him look more alive. I then also used the same colour but less diluted for his nose and his mouth, and then I wanted to give him his spiral cheeks in a slightly darker colour. I really like giving my creatures spiral cheeks. I think it's like not necessarily a signature thing I do, but it is something that I really like to do, so I feel like it's very personalized to me when I'm adding it here on my Labubu. I gave him multiple layers for his eyes, and then I did his eyebrows as well, and he's looking cute and angry. And welcome to my bed. Over here I am doing some work. We're going to be giving everything a layer of resin to seal in all the paint, but also just to make him a bit more durable. For this, if you are doing anything like this at home, absolutely make sure you're wearing gloves, make sure you're wearing a mask, and make sure your room is well ventilated. This stuff is not good for you to breathe in. It's just pretty toxic in general, I think, but it is really handy for art projects like this. Do not do this unless you are well prepared, well equipped, and if you're underage or anything, just make sure you have a guardian watching you or doing it for you, because this stuff can be pretty damaging if you use it for a long time and you're not careful with it. Here they are done. They look so nice, all shiny. I just really like how finished they look because of it. So now, how am I going to attach it? Well, I have a glue gun. I bought it for this project. I've been wanting one for a long time, and I am so glad I finally just got one, because glue guns are amazing. It is very addictive, but it is really good for what I'm doing here. I don't know if maybe sewing them in somehow would have been better, but I didn't plan for that. Maybe if I'd punched some holes in the face and the limbs before I cooked them, that would have worked, but I didn't, and I didn't think about that. So hot glue it is, and hot glue works, and here he is, the little freak in all his glory. I'm so happy with how he turned out. He's my little baby. He can stand by himself, which I'm so proud of. But I don't want to be ignoring my prototype. So I got some blue dye and I dyed some stuff. I dyed the prototype skin, what do you want to call it? So here he is, blue. I also dyed some other fabric, which I will show you a bit later, but I made him blue, and it's time to give him a face. He deserves some love too. Just because he's the prototype doesn't mean he's any less special. So I am making him with felt, because I didn't want to sculpt another face for him. I thought it would look kind of goofy because of his thin fabric. So I'm going with yellow, like this mustard yellow, because I think it would look really, really nice with the blue that I went for his skin. And I'm going with one of the other faces that I designed at the beginning. Was that at the beginning? No, it was a little while ago. I'm just doing it with some felt that I already have. So he has orange cheeks instead of like red rosy cheeks because I don't have that colour. And he's getting a cute little smiley face, some angry little eyebrows, and he's gonna get a little tooth because he deserves one. And I went with the massively diluted eyes for him, and I think it's just adorable. I love it so much, and I also really enjoyed using felt for this, and it's making me want to do some more felt projects, so who knows, maybe I'll do that in the future. I matched the thread that I used to sew them into the colours, and I think that is extremely good. I don't know, I really like how it looks. And instead of putting the face into his head, I decided to just sew it on top of. I think because I did everything quite close to the edge, so I didn't want to lose any of the details. And I think it looks nice like that. I actually really like it. Obviously he's still got these frilly bits on his head, so I tried trimming them down a bit more, which helped, but he still looks very strange. So what I've done instead is I want to give him this scarf thing here with this other fabric that I have nothing to do with. It's scrap fabric, and he's gonna have it's like a cape kind of deal. And I also went ahead and sculpted him some hands and feet that are similar colours to his face, and he's so cute, he's so perfect. Let me zoom out. His name is Stinky because he's so janky. Like he's got some staining on him from the dye job, which is in an unfortunate area. I love him. I love how he turned out. He's got these like thick thighs. Bro works out, I guess. But I'm really, really happy with how both of them turned out. So much so that I perhaps have a problem. I made another one, and another one, and another one. I was just enjoying it so much that I kept making them because I had these ideas that I wanted to do. So this is how they ended up. So they all have their own flaws. They're all a little imperfect, but I am so happy with them. I made this little crybaby one. This is the same fabric as this, but I chucked it in while I was dyeing Little Stinky's fabric. And I think it's because of what this fabric is made of. The dye didn't stick the same way. So it did work a little bit. He's not blue though, he's just grey. But you can see there's quite a difference between the colours. I also made a smaller one because I wanted to see, because I sized up the original template to this one, I did want to try making one with the original template, closer to the size of a Labubu. I also added an actual keychain. His ears got messed up. I don't know why. Each one of them turned out slightly janky because they also have like wonky legs after a while. But he was tricky because of how small he was. I had a harder time with him, but he was also a little faster because he's a lot smaller. His name's Sherbet, and this one is Dry Devil. It's while I was really into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I wanted to make Dry Devil into a Labubu because why not, but why? So he's this red fabric that I had to get somewhere else because this fabric doesn't dye. Gave him a little evil face, painted his face red as well, which I love. Red hands, and then he's got these little goat hooves for feet. I love him so much. I love them all. They're all so unique. I don't know that he's got a name. I just call him the La Freak. This is Stinky. Crybaby, Sherbet, and Dry Devil. I'm also working on another one, but this one is a Christmas present for my mum, so it doesn't count towards my addiction. But I plan on stopping as soon as this one's done. I am not making any more because, oh boy, does it take a lot out of me. Sculpting the faces, then resining them, those are actually the hardest parts. I would have thought that sewing the body and doing all of that would have been the hard part, but I actually had so much trouble with the faces and stuff. So yeah, just gotta do one more and then I'm done. But also, this is the mistake guy that I was sent at the beginning of the video that I mentioned. They let me keep him because I guess they didn't want to pay for shipping back, and I guess it was too much hassle. So I still have him. He looks a little different because I removed his face, repainted it, sewed up the holes that were actually in the back of his head, sewed his head back onto his body because it was falling off as well. I had to hot glue his face on, so it's a bit janky because the glue is actually coming off a little bit. It doesn't want to stick to him. I removed his hands because he had 2 left hands or 2 right hands, I don't remember. And I'm figuring out what to do with him. I've been calling him Frankie because I've been wanting a blue one, which is why I was surprised that he's blue. I wanted to name him Frankie after Frankie from One Piece. So I did actually have a go at sculpting him some Frankie arms that, ooh, they got a bit messy. They are so goofy though, and I haven't committed yet to actually like attaching them. He looks so stupid. But I also kind of like it, but I can't commit to it because I think I would have to actually like hot glue it onto his arms with how I've done it, because I wasn't entirely sure how to do it. So he's still kind of unfinished. So thank you for witnessing my moment of insanity, I suppose. I hope it was interesting. I'm going to leave in the description the link to the template and instructions I used to make these so that you can make one yourself if you're interested, or just give it a look out of curiosity if you want. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you made it this far, thank you again. I also want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons: Dispe, Finn Carter, Grim Clow, The Waffle of Life, Non-Toxic, Saint Nix, LP, Kira May, Kay, Joanna, Mila, Pretty Rotten, Joanna Snake Moon, Humble Frogs, Local Fishkeeper, Mould Ghoul, Farrar Sun Arts, Molly Marula, Scout Radley, Sammy Bear 127, Kenzania, Jades, Arrow, Charlie, Malorus, Cindy King, Art by Lavender, Angel of the Woods, Rainbow Tea, Breaded Nuggets, Learns, Human Eye, The Moth Bug, Knox, Catbird House, The Tormented Shadow, Sweet and Hopeless, Pocket, Jordan's Tiny Planet, The Coffee Rain, Black Jackal Art, Leela Loves You, Faith, A. Wendu, Koza Scobbs, Wolf and Wares, Ronnie, Olivia Gadbor, Heather F., Cheris Needham, Rotting Lettuce, Binixery, Cyrus Orion, Lolo, Brianna McGraw, Malbon Designs, Gamut Girl, Dodo, Catberry Studio, Solar Tortoise, Auden, Red S Lily, Hayley, Sienna G, Lady Ratbird, Fia, Greenfinch G Illustration, Lynn, Cody, Pobbles, Kaleidoscope Arm, Cloud, Cleo, Redders, Ziutka, Chelsea Amazon, Beetle Ghost, Artsy Ghost, Melisandre Sinclair, Bria Washington, Hurrier, June, Dakota Garcia, Manon, Perpy, Lily Likes Art, Valent Dykes, Rona, Quill, I Am a Yertle, Levi, Kira's Cozy Corner, Tink, Daniel McGuinness, Janine, Dios Live, Ella Chenshuo, K2, Flossie, August, Stegosaurus, Yoinks, Soundly Manners, Stoyan, Bleety, Chloe, Starry Fern, Kiki, Lotus Whimsy, Nuclear Nail Bomb, Brianna, P. Wright Stuff, and Raig Norway. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I am currently working on another one, so I will see you then.